Thank you very much for having me. So I am Sarah Mullin. I am doing a doctorate which actually explores the underrepresentation of women leaders in secondary schools in England. And I think it's been fascinating listening to the presentations this morning. Thank you for having me on. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I lead, and probably how I lead as a woman leader. And it's very much leading from the heart, a values-based leadership approach. Values-based leadership theory is based on the belief that as leaders, we have an ethical responsibility to guide, lead, and to nurture our teams of staff. And I really feel that it's so important that we have a firm understanding of our core values. So what's important to us, our beliefs and our priorities at all times. We must be guided by these and stay true to our core beliefs in all of our decision making and in all our practice. For me, it's almost like a gut feeling or an instinctive feeling, particularly when planning strategically and making important decisions which impact on others. And this is so I was just saying that it's really important that we stay true to our core values, especially during these times of rapid change in education. And I think it's, I was saying before, it's a gut feeling for me, or an intuitive feeling, I guess, particularly when I'm strategically planning or making important decisions that, impact on others. I think as leaders, we need to be prepared to do the right thing, even if it's difficult. We need to be ready to speak up when the easiest thing to do would be to keep quiet. We need to show integrity at all times. To lead ethically, we need to ensure that trust, integrity, honesty, and accountability are key leadership traits that we're exhibiting to all our teams of staff. Now, it's a real privilege to be a leader, serving others and bringing out the best in each of those we work with. It's important to lead by example, inspiring others in our endeavours and motivating others to be the best that they can be. It's often said that we should never ask others to do something that we would not be prepared to do ourselves. Now, obviously, we just don't have the time or the capacity to do absolutely everything. However, there will be times when, as a school leader, we may have to roll up our sleeves and help out when we're needed. We need to be ready to be a listening ear for staff, often coaching our colleagues to find solutions to any problems or issues that they might have. And we must never underestimate the importance of offering sincere praise for a job well done. Gratitude goes ever such a long way. And of course, setting those high aspirations and high standards for all. So our learners are given every opportunity to maximise their potential in our schools. In fact, it's really important to remember actually that everything that we do in all our decision making, the needs of the children must come first. I think it's Richard Branson that said, look after your staff and they will look after your clients, who of course are our children. And this is such a great sentiment for school leadership. Outcomes for children must be at the heart of everything we do. And as Coven said earlier, by creating a great team of staff who are happy, motivated and invested in their professional growth, we can see a greater impact on children's learning experiences and the opportunities for them, which will lead to enhanced outcomes for all. Okay, so let's delve a little bit deeper into some of the aspects of value-based leadership. So this chart here just starts to scratch the surface really on values-based leadership. But I'm going to start first of all with attitude. Now, our attitudes as leaders significantly impacts how effective our leadership is. As leaders, we have the ability to draw people closer to us, so we can bring them with us as we work towards our goals, or we can be the reason that people tend to repel and run away. And it's really important to be aware of that. We often see disgruntled people over Facebook or social media sharing quotes such as, people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad bosses. And in fact, probably lots of us here today will have our own negative experiences that we might want to confidentially share. With leadership comes great responsibility. Attitudes are feelings and beliefs that determine how others will perceive their work environment. It's the attitude which will ultimately impact on the behaviours and actions of those we lead. It's our actions, our feelings and our moods that will determine the actions, feelings and moods of others. So it's really important to be positive, welcoming, authentic and supportive. Positive leadership is modelling facilitating and purposefully influencing positive emotions that encourage others to achieve their potential. Positive leaders cultivate an empowering environment through open communication, accountability, emotional intelligence, and instilling a strong work ethic. I find that an open door approach, a friendly face and a sympathetic ear goes such a long way, as does an encouraging word or a gentle nudge when we see the potential in others. In fact, there's nothing I love more than seeing others do well. And it's really, really heartwarming when I have people tell me that I inspired them to try something new, or maybe to go for a promotion that they might have been a little bit hesitant about. It's brilliant when I have staff in school and on social media, actually, who'll come and tell me that they would love to write a book, or that they're considering beginning a doctorate too, because they've seen how I've juggled it along with a career and raising a family as well. Just recently, I had a lovely teacher send me a WhatsApp picture of her classroom to show me how she'd set it up. And I just thought how lovely that she felt so motivated to reach out and show her hard work. And that's just exactly what you want. Motivated teachers who really care about their children and providing the best possible learning experience for them. I'll always have time for colleagues who come to me and say, Sarah, I've had this idea. I believe that success breeds success. And I just love to be the facilitator who can bring out the best in others and, generate the next generation of future leaders who can bring out the best in others as well. I think it's important to be a visible leader, an active presence around our schools, modelling how things should be done. So I'm sitting here today doing my presentation, but you can hear the phones ringing in the background, the doors opening and closing. It's really important that people see that, yes, we are a really active part of our schools' communities. But we should exude an air of calm, purpose and positivity, even when times are tough. I aim to be the leader I was inspired by, and the leader I would have loved to have had when I was first starting out in my career. I believe that leaders are the metaphorical rock on which school communities are built. However, it's really just as important to be open to reflecting on when we don't quite get our attitude right. As I said earlier, I'm the proud mum of 3 young children, and sometimes I feel like I've done a day's work before I've even left the house for school in the morning. However, the minute I get to the school gates, I am in Mrs. Mullin mode. The smile gets painted on and I'm there to help others. It's a tough job, and others really will pick up on our attitudes. We're only human after all, and being vulnerable sometimes makes us that little bit more relatable. If we haven't presented the best versions of ourselves, I always try to find an appropriate time to catch up with a colleague who I might not have just had the time for earlier in the day, and I'll try and reschedule a meeting with them. It's so important that staff voices are heard and feedback is acted upon. And that kind of leads me on to the next point on this little chart, and that's honesty. Honesty is the most important quality expected from a leader. It really is the gateway for inspiration and trust, helping to establish genuine connections between colleagues. It's also really important to be honest with ourselves. Having a critical friend here can be key. Can we be open to feedback from others? Have we always got things right? Are we genuinely in a position to make an important decision right now? Do we need to go back and review something that could have been done better, perhaps? Positive relationships built on honesty, integrity, and trust allow us to collaborate and work together more effectively. Schools thrive because there's a strong team of staff working together. Where would we be without our wonderful teachers, leaders, caretakers, admin staff, teaching assistants and cooks, our lunchtime supervisors, cleaners, finance team, librarians, and all those who make our schools such a wonderful place to grow and learn. It's always nice to show appreciation for those you work with. We just couldn't do our jobs without their support. I always try to find ways to praise and reward staff. And sometimes that can be, cake in the staff room or a pizza after school. And whilst that's a lovely, lovely treat, I've genuinely found the best way to praise and reward staff is a sincere, specific thank you and an honest commitment to promoting workload reduction where possible. No 2 days in the world of education are ever the same. It's really important to be flexible and adaptable as a leader. We have significant responsibility, and of course, we just want to get it right. However, things might not always go to plan. Every experience presents the opportunity for reflection. It's sometimes on those days when we feel a little bit disappointed or deflated that we know that deep down we're definitely in the right job because we care. The very best leaders are always growing, always developing, and always learning. I have a fantastic network of leaders around me that I can turn to for advice, support, and honest feedback. There's no better resource in education than the skills and experiences of each other. I'd recommend that we share good practice, observe one another, build our professional networks, both online and in real life. Surround ourselves with people who bring out the best in us. Reach out and find those positive, uplifting people who believe in us, support us, and even challenge us to become the best version of ourselves. One of my favourite quotes is, "You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first." And this is probably the best advice I can give to you as leaders, but I can honestly tell you firsthand, it's incredibly hard to do. As teachers and leaders, we just never stop caring, but we must take the time to look after ourselves so that we're best placed to support our staff and our school communities who need us. I'm afraid this is advice I need to listen to myself more. Never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. Your well-being matters because you matter. So invest in yourself and your health so that you're best placed to help those that need you. And this brings me on nicely to my final point here, is ethics. Ethics is at the heart of everything we do, everything we say, and every decision we make. So let's just take a moment to reflect on the challenging few years it's been. Never could we have imagined a time in our careers where we would be teaching through a global pandemic, in addition to the multiple challenges presented, such as national recruitment and retention issues. We have all shown resilience in the face of adversity.
Can you hear this?
We've shown innovation and creativity in the ways that we've adapted our practice to respond to the ever-changing educational landscape that we're living in. When times are challenging, as they really have been these past few years, it's really important to reflect on our motivations for entering the profession and taking on the huge leadership challenge. Teaching, of course, it's one of the most important jobs there is. In fact, it's the only profession that creates every other profession there is. We are shaping the hearts and minds of children for the rest of their lives. We're helping them to maximise their learning potential, and we're giving children and young people the very best start in life. So please never, ever forget the impact that you'll have on a child's life. And that's why it's so important to periodically take a few moments and reflect on our why for entering the profession and staying in the profession as well. So that takes me to the core of my presentation, really, which is values-based leadership. Based on the philosophy that people motivate themselves through the implementation of their personal values in their daily lives. Values-based leadership ensures that there's a shared set of values and values which encourage colleagues to work together, which can improve, increase productivity, as Colvin was saying earlier, as we work towards our shared goals. I'd love to talk more. If you have any questions, please do share them, and I look forward to reading the messages in the chat now in a moment as well. Thank you.